Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Lacey. I'm the CEO of the Multicultural Communities Council of the Illawarra, and I'm delighted to welcome you all here today to our inaugural Multicultural Online Seniors Expo. Over the next 2 hours, we have some terrific presentations to provide information to the community, and we'll have a range of entertainment to keep everybody entertained and upbeat for the next couple of hours. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea and enjoy the morning. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Hello, I'm Gordana. Before we begin today's presentations, I would like to invite Uncle Richard Davis to perform Welcome to Country.
Good afternoon, my name's Richard Davis. I'm a member of the local Aboriginal community and I've been asked to do Welcome to Country on behalf of the Aboriginal community. Firstly, I'd just like to thank Gordana for inviting me to do a Welcome to Country on behalf of the Aboriginal community, and I'd just like to acknowledge MCCI for the work that they do in our community, providing a service to the Multicultural Society, and I think they do a great job and continue to do the work that they do in the community. So thank you, MCCI. Very well done. Yalanga, Nangami, Nalamayui, Migays, Yalanga, Welcome to Country. My name is Richard Davis and I'm welcoming you here today on behalf of the Aboriginal community. I'd like us to pay our respects to elders past and present. Our elders in our community are very important people. They are the people who have shown us who I am as an Aboriginal person, to be proud in my own country as an Aboriginal man. I'd just like to thank other elders in our community from other parts of the world that have come and made Australia their home. And as I said, MCCI do a great work in promoting multicultural and living together as one people. Thank you.
Besides the care services, the community support team at MCCI also has a range of programs to help you, carers, and your families to find out about the right help and what services are available. To find out more about our programs, watch the short videos in between presentations through the session today.
Are you alone or need some help with my aged care? Need some support with services or guidance? Maybe are caring for a loved one with dementia? We're running some programs at MCCI which might be of benefit to you. Encompass is there to help with any aged care related dilemmas or advice. We can get some services in to help alleviate you so you can get on with the things you enjoy and have energy for. You might need some advice on how better to take care of your loved one and find some information which best suits your situation concerning yourself or your loved one. In that case, Dementia Australia can give you all that. We're also running a dementia-specific carers group monthly to put you in touch with others that are dealing with the same situation. A place to share your burdens, to take reprieve for a while, maybe gaining some insight with new ideas or becoming more informed on what else there is to help. All you need to do is call the number listed and talk to myself, Stefana and Patricia, and we'll endeavour to answer all your questions.
Our first video today is a panel session with the representatives from Legal Aid, from the Trustee and Guardian, and from Partners in Culturally Appropriate Care with MCCI.
So we are here for our advanced care planning session with our two guest speakers, and we've got Adam from the New South Wales Trustee and Guardian, and also Selene from the Partners in Culturally Appropriate Care team. And they're both going to talk to us about the importance of planning ahead and talk about things like having wills, power of attorney, and enduring guardianship documents. So starting with you, Adam, what is a power of attorney and why is it important to have one?
Yeah, so a power of attorney is an important legal document that gives a person the authority to manage your assets and make financial decisions on your behalf, should you not be able to in future. It's recommended that everybody prepares a power of attorney for future planning, so that if something does happen to you in the future and you cannot make the financial decisions yourself, the person you've nominated can do that for you. It is also important to note that if you do lose capacity in future, an independent body will make those decisions for you and appoint somebody to do that for you, which means that you might not have actually had the opportunity to choose who does that.
Very good. We also have an option to do another document which is called enduring guardianship. So what is an enduring guardianship and what does it mean?
Yeah, so enduring guardianship is what I like to call a companion to your power of attorney. So an enduring guardian is a person who can make medical and lifestyle decisions on your behalf, again, should you not be able to make those decisions yourself. It is a legal appointment, so very similar to your power of attorney, and it should be somebody that you trust. Again, they can make very important decisions for you, like where you might need to live one day, the type of healthcare you might need to receive, and also any personal services you might need as well.
So part of planning ahead involves as well that you have the option of developers' advanced care directive. Selene, would you mind to tell us a little bit about what is an advanced care directive and what does it mean? And what's the difference from the enduring guardian as well?
Advanced Care Directive is different than enduring guardian. So Advanced Care Directive is a document that records your values, what is important for you in life, your preferences, your choices about your future healthcare or medical treatment. So Advanced Care Directive is written by you, and it has an authority over the decisions made by enduring guardian. So for example, you have one person, or it might be several person as your enduring guardian, and then you more discuss about your values, your choices about your healthcare, future healthcare preferences, and you documented them in the Advanced Care Directive document. So if, like for example, if you had an accident and you're in emergency and then you're not able to speak for yourself and like express your preferences and choices about your medical treatment, enduring guardian or the healthcare professionals such as doctors or nurses will look at the Advanced Care Directive document, and they will make a decisions, they will consider your wishes, and then they will make a decisions on that. So, but when the Advanced Care Directive is active, so when you lose your capacity to make a decision, so, and then when you're not able to speak for yourself. In New South Wales, so you don't need to use a specific form. So basically, like you can create the Advanced Care Directive by writing your wishes and then your preferences in a straightforward way, and then signing it and dating it. But in New South Wales government has created the Advanced Care Directive form that might be helpful for you for that process, because there are lots of questions that you can think about your values, like your future healthcare, the treatments. So you can reach that document online, like basically you can just write down Advanced Care Directive form in New South Wales, and then it will come up, or you can just go to your the local community services like MCCI, and then we are happy to provide that form for you. So, yeah.
That's good. So thank you for that explanation as well. So we talked about 3 documents. Is it possible to have the 3 documents all at once? Adam, that question, if you...
Yeah, so estate planning documents generally, like a will, power of attorney and enduring guardianship document, can all be done at the same time. Similarly with the Advanced Care Directive, although as Selena pointed out, there is no prescribed form or specific prescribed form. New South Wales Health do have one on the website, however it doesn't have to actually be that form that's used. It could be on a bit of paper, it could be verbalised. So What we recommend is when you are making your advanced care form, or when you're similarly making your will, power of attorney and injury and guardianship form, you consider making all of them together. We regularly have customers coming in who specifically only want to make their will, for example. We strongly recommend that they make all of their documents at the one time while it's fresh in their mind so that nothing's lost in future. One thing we do also recommend strongly is that the documents themselves, again, mainly will, power of attorney and injury and guardianship, are drafted professionally by either a solicitor or New South Wales trustee and guardian can assist. Reason being is you want to have peace of mind that the documents you've actually made are legally compliant, so if something does happen to you in future, there's no hassles with your family, there is no concern over who needs to do what, does the document work, is it valid, is it not, you've got peace of mind.
So when you do your will, and unfortunately will pass away, we'll need someone to actually deal with all these things for you. So usually you will be able to appoint someone to do it. So Adam, how do we appoint an executor and how do we go about it?
Yeah, so an executor is limited or specific to wills. So when you make a will, one of the components to your will is nominating the person who is actually going to administer the terms of your will or carry out your wishes. That person's referred to as the executor. They have the absolute legal authority to deal with any assets you own, obviously after you've passed away, and making sure that those assets go to the people you've specified in your will. We do have issues with people, however, who are appointed, so not a lot of people actually know what's required of them when they actually have to perform the role of executor. So it is actually quite difficult. A lot of people find that they go to a solicitor for assistance, trustee and guardian for assistance. Generally, a person needs to have skills in things like financial management, legal qualification or legal knowledge, experience about dealing with, a whole range of assets, taxation. Just touching on a few of those points. The role of the executor also is required to locate a person's will, where that might be. Sometimes if people haven't told you where the will is, it can be quite a task. Confirming what assets a person actually does have when they've passed away. What to do with those assets, securing them, are they insured, are they in a garage, are they, free from harm or destruction. Applying for what's called probate, so that's the legal authority to actually deal with a person's assets after they've passed away. They are also required to lodge tax returns, sell assets, distribute assets to the beneficiaries, and communicate with everybody that's involved in the process throughout. So, keeping beneficiaries informed on what's happening, paying debts that a person may have had, a whole range of things need to be done. So it's quite diverse in what you have to do. There's a lot involved and it does require a unique skill set.
We definitely can see that. So it is a very thorough process, and it's great that we have services like New South Wales Trustee and Guardian, and also some of the programs like Selene helps with communities to understand how things work, how to access these services. So is there any recommendations you'd like to give to seniors in regards to going about getting these things ready?
Yeah, first and foremost, from my perspective, I can't stress enough how important it is to have your documents professionally drafted, as I touched on earlier. We've had a lot of cases where people make informal documents, they scribble on a bit of paper, especially when it comes to wills, powers of attorney, injury and guardian, thinking that that's enough, when really the law is quite specific on what's considered a valid document. And then the family find out when it's too late. Obviously, a person may have passed away, they're in hospital, they're in a nursing home and have dementia. It's actually too late to fix it. So the key thing for me is short-term pain for long-term gain. There are generally fees that are payable to have documents made professionally, but it will save not only you, but your family a whole headache later on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Adam. Do you have any recommendations, Selene?
I just want to clarify some of the things first. because when we are saying will and living will, because like we call advanced care directive usually is living will, and then there is some confusion. The will is different than advanced care directive. Will is when you plan your finance or your plans like about your burial, and then you want your family or your loved ones to know like what's going to happen after like your death. But advanced care directive is a process that think about your values, that think about the choices and preferences about future healthcare, and then talk with your loved ones, like with your GPs, and then record them in advanced care directive. So another confusion is with the advanced care directive. Advanced care directive can be completed with anyone with who is 18 years old and over. So and you don't need to be diagnosed with the terminal illness, and then you don't need to be older person or the 65 and over to do the advanced care directive. So anytime so you can fill out the advanced care directive. So, and we strongly recommend, it's not a compulsory, it's not the must, but we recommend you to go to your GP before you complete your advanced care directive, or if you feel comfortable, you can go to your solicitor, because the GP can verify your state of mind. Like it means that like you can make your own decisions. So and then they just sign it with you. So when you do your advanced care directive, and I think it's another the suggestion I can give. Keep your advanced care directive somewhere accessible, because if something happens to you and you just had an accident, we just give that example before, and you're in emergency, so it would be good, like maybe your GPs, your enduring guardian, or someone you trust, your loved ones have that the copy of the advanced care directive.
It's good. So keep it accessible. Maybe tell your friends and your family where it is and what your wishes are. So when the time comes, you're going to save them a little bit of that hassle of going through everything and trying to find out what would be the things you'd like to be done. So thank you very much for coming today. So to contact these organizations, we'll leave some details in the videos after this. Thank you. So Liz, we talked about making wills before. Why is it important to have a will that is made legally in Australia?
Oh, thanks, Patricia. It's really important to make sure that you have a valid will in Australia. And really, if you have a valid will, it's the best chance that you have of making sure that all your assets, all your property, your belongings go to where you want them to go. To have a valid will, there's three main things that need to happen. One, it must be in writing. Two, you must have signed it. And three, you must have two people witness your signature. So having a valid will is really important.
We also spoke about power of attorney. So, and to have a power of attorney, you basically delegate some authority for someone to take and make decisions for yourself. So if I don't have anyone I can trust, what can I do to make a power of attorney?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because it's really important that you do trust the person that you're appointing to be your power of attorney, because they need to be making decisions that are in your best interest, and we need to make sure that there's no conflict of interest. So if you don't have a friend or a family that can be your power of attorney, you can always appoint a private solicitor, or you can talk to the trustee and guardian. So they're your options.
Okay. What about if I have more than one person that I trust and I would like them to be power of attorney?
And this can be tricky. So it's good in theory to have two people to appoint to be your power of attorney, and there's two different ways you can do this. The first way is that you appoint them jointly, and that means that they need to make all the decisions together. And while this can seem good in theory, it needs to make sure that both of those attorneys can communicate and can get along. The other way you can do it is appoint two people to do it jointly and severally. And this means they can make decisions together, or they can make them on their own. But what I would recommend is that you always talk to the people that you're thinking of appointing, and talk to them about whether they want to be your power of attorney, and whether they can see any issues that might arise down the track.
Okay. Getting back to wills, where we tell people what we want it to happen with our assets and with our properties, what happens if we have assets and properties in another state or country? Can I include them in my Australian will?
Yeah, and in a situation like this, it can get really, really complicated. So I would always recommend to someone to get some legal advice, because if you have property in another country, even though you might have put it in your Australian will might not be recognised by that country, and it'll depend what country it is. You might need to have your own will in the other country as well. So in a situation like that, when you've got property in another country, really important that you talk to a lawyer.
Okay. We also had some instances where actually children are left out of the will from their parents. What happens in that situation?
Yeah, so we get a lot of calls from people who are unhappy that they've been left out of the will. And certainly under the law in Australia, if you have been left out of a will, you can challenge it under family provision laws. And you can challenge it on the basis that, look, you should have been in the will because you were dependent on the person that has died. The issue is, though, you also really want to get some legal advice, because challenging wills is expensive, it takes a long time, and it involves the Supreme Court. So you really need to get some legal advice. The other important thing to know is that you need to start any court case within 12 months of the person passing away.
This is definitely really relevant information. Thank you, Liz. So, given that it's such a comprehensive process, what are the most common mistakes that people do when preparing those documents?
I think there's a couple of things that people do that I'd like to touch on. One is that they don't talk to their family about what they want to happen. So it's always a really good idea in the planning phase to sit down to everyone in your family and say, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. And we're going to appoint this person to make decisions, guardianship decisions, this person to power of attorney, so that everyone knows and is on board with what you want to happen when you can no longer make decisions or after you die. And I guess the other issue is planning ahead, making your will as early as possible and not leaving it too late to the point where you can't make those decisions.
Thank you, Liz. That's really great information. So if I would like some help with all of these, I can come to your service and we're going to be able to help us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So you can come to us and we've got, we can use a telephone interpreting service. You can contact our local office in Wollongong and also law access number.
Yeah. So more details about legal aid will be given at the end of this panel. Thank you very much, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Tanya and I'd like to introduce you to our Multicultural Friendship Program. It's a program that provides friendly visitors to our seniors, and it is funded under the Community Visitor Scheme from the Australian Government. You may not have as many opportunities to leave your house and access communities as much as you would like. Friendships can change lives. It's always important to have someone to talk to. The Multicultural Friendship Program, it's all about friendship and connections. You too can have someone to come and see you from time to time, call you, or simply to spend some quality time, like having a coffee, playing games, watching movies and going out if it's safe to do so. MCCI will provide you with a friendly volunteer who has been trained and knows how to help seniors. They are there just to be your friend. We will introduce you, and if you're happy, then we'll sign you up with our program. You don't have to do anything. There are no commitments and you can withdraw from the program at any time. It's a free service. How good is that? But like every program, there's only one condition. This program is for seniors that are receiving a home care package or have been approved or are still waiting to receive one while living in their home or with family members. Seniors are eligible for this program if you live in an aged care home. We don't want you to miss out. If you're receiving services with MCCI at home, you will also be entitled to receive a friendly visitor. But of course, we cannot run the program without our great volunteers. If you have some time and would like to become a friendly visitor, you can join us too. We will do your registration as a volunteer, we will introduce you to our seniors, and if you're happy to continue, we'll put all things in place for the visits to start as soon as possible. We'll make sure you are safe and you'll be trained so you know what to do. Anyone can become a friend. Isn't that amazing that you can volunteer just to be a friend? If you would like to receive a friendly visitor, or if you'd like to join our team of volunteers to be a friendly visitor to our seniors, please contact me, Tanya, on 0429 7566 at MCCI. The Multicultural Friendship Program is funded by the Australian Government and the Community Visitors Scheme.
The next video is about not-for-profit organization Tenda Funeral. I'm sure you have heard about this, but let's see their video and you will find more information about this service.
It's a one-time investment and you could turn death into something beautiful for people.
Tenda Funerals is a unique community not-for-profit on the Illawarra coast of New South Wales.
Tenda is about reclaiming the process a bit, about thinking about how we might bring it back into community.
Jenny Briscoe-Hoff drew on many years of working with bereaved families in healthcare. She devised Tenda Illawarra and is now propelling Tenda across Australia.
No shame in simpler. Absolutely not. And in fact, people love it. They love it. The whole idea of Tenda is to not leave people with debt. Sometimes people come in and they spend the day there at Tenda and they'll wash and dress the person and then they'll have a little ceremony just with the family in the living room there, and then at the end of the day they'll say, okay, we're ready, and Cochrane goes off to the crematorium, and that's the funeral.
We're born out of a need in our community for people to be able to look after their dead.
Being tender with people, that's why it's called Tenda Funerals. It's really about tenderness, and it's about love, and it's about looking after people with their own hands. People being able to remember, we know what to do.
The thing you hear people say the most when you're actually in Tenda is, I never knew this was possible, but of course. It's almost like a remembering of what they know how to do already, which is really beautiful to see.
People can choose really anything they like.
The thing about supporting anything to do with death or being around anything to do with death is that it really does catapult you to the middle of life. Supporting a project like Tenda is an incredibly life-affirming thing to do, and it will make you happy. It will make you happy because it takes away fear and it also helps with healing.
Let's take a break with our Kylie, exercise physiologist with MCCI. She will show you a few tips how to do light exercise, gentle exercise at home. Let's join Kylie.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. My name's Kylie and I'm an exercise physiologist, and I'd like you to start standing by coming up out of your chair for me, please. Give your body a bit of a shimmy. A lot of people have it that they sit too long in the day and we're needing to start hopping out of our chairs. So if you can, let's start with a general march for me, please. If for whatever reason that you're not able to stand and march, by all means you can still participate, and you can participate by joining in by seated. So as we're ready, we can get our arms to start swinging. If you're having it that there's any issues and you've got an injury of sorts, by all means just go in the range that you need. If you get tired and you need to have a sit, that's not a problem. If we can now put our hands in front, and let's try and get our hands and our knees to be touching. Try and not cheat and have the hands come down. Keep the hands about hip height. We always need to get a little bit puffed with some of our activities so as we can get our heart and our lung to be functioning well. As you're ready to change, if you can then just side step for me, please. If you want, you can add your arms. It doesn't worry me as to how your arms and legs are moving, as long as they're moving. If you need safety, by all means have a kitchen bench or a chair in front of yourself to keep yourself safe. If you'd like to, you can now start stepping forwards, stepping backwards. If your body's getting in a little bit of a tangle and you want to change to doing anything, just go back to this marching again, it's fine. And you can again add some arm movements if you'd like. I can feel I'm getting a little bit puffed. I hope you can feel you're getting a little bit puffed too. One more time. Okay, now carefully we can return to sitting for me, please. Now, leaving our legs having it that they're hip width apart for me. If you can, keep your feet in parallel. So don't have your feet turned out or turned in, just keeping them parallel. If you need, you can use your hands as a support. But if you're able, hands are across our chest, sitting forwards and standing for me. Sending our bottom backwards, we can lower ourselves safely. So send your head forwards, push through your legs. And we're lowering safely, coming back. As you're here, try and make sure that your knees don't cave in for me. And try and make sure our knees don't go too wide. So I always refer to we've got train track legs. So the centre of the hips, the centre of the knees and the centre of the ankles can all stay aligned. We're going to go for 2 more. Remember, if you need to use your hands as a support, it's not a problem. If you need to go slower as well, that's not a problem. If you can't actually stand, the attempt to stand is just as good for me. So do as you're able. For those that need a rest, have a rest. If you're okay, this time we're going to lower coming down, send our bottom backwards. And we're going to hold here for me, please, for a count to 5. 4, don't let those knees cave in. 3, 2, 1, and we'll stand back up. So again, we'll lower, send your bottom backwards, so your bottom's not going to touch onto the chair. And we're going to hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we can stand back up. 2 more times, please. So lower, hold, lowered. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll stand back up. Once more, please. Lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and controlled, sitting all the way down. Give those legs a little shimmy. If you can, before you sit into a chair or onto the bed or even to the toilet, try and hold your bottom just up off the chair for a moment for me, please, before you let yourself sit down, so we can have that controlled load, which helps build the strength in our legs. Today I've got 2 hand weights. I don't expect everybody at home to have hand weights. If you don't, you can use a drink bottle, or you can have it that you're using a bag of rice or anything, or even just your hands without any extra weights, not a problem. To strengthen our biceps, we're going to bring our hands to the shoulders. Hands can come down. We're going to go for 10, so this is 2. If you need, you can do 1 hand at a time or both together. 4, 5, keeping our chest tall and our chest held open for me. Relaxing our shoulders down from our ears. And I always forget to count, but I think this is number 10. And we can relax. The next one, if you can have your weights or even just your hands together, it's not a problem. We're going to do up our zipper on our shirt. We're going to undo our zipper. Again, we do up our zipper on our shirt, our elbows raise as you can, zipper comes down. So this is for 3. And again for 4. Again for 5. Again for 6. 7, relax the top of your shoulders. Don't have it that your shoulders come right up. 8, 9, and 10. Give our arms a little shimmy. If we can, what we're going to do now is we're going to go punching. You can think Kylie's not doing nice exercises, I'm going to punch her. So we can punch forwards and return. When we do this, we want 10 on each arm, so we're actually going to count up towards our 20 for me, please. Again, we need our beautiful posture, so don't have your breastbone slumped down. Lift your breastbone, sit tall and proud. As we sit tall and proud, remember that your shoulder blades are going to slide down and over your ribs for me, please. If you're getting sore or tired, by all means, stop and have a break. If you can only do one arm and not the other, that's not a problem. And remember, you don't have to have weights to be able to do this. You can do this with just your arms with no weights, that's not a problem. Like I said before, I always forget to count, and that's no change from now. We'll do 1 more on each side. Okay, have a little break, give our arms a little shimmy. If you can, our next one, we're now going to strengthen the deltoid on the side of the shoulder. We're going to raise our arms coming up and we're going to bring our arms down. So again, we're going to raise our arms and we're lowering. Again, one arm at a time is fine, that's not a problem. Keep your beautiful neck for me, please. Shoulder blades keep sliding down. And whilst you're here, you can also think to pull your tummy in. So pull your tummy back and away from your pants to have it that the abdominals help support your posture. Okay, let's go for 2 more times. Hopefully your arms are getting a little bit tired by now. And then as we're ready, we can relax our arms, give our arms a little shimmy. There's one more we're going to go for with our weights, and we're going to go for pushing up to the ceiling. If you get a sore shoulder, by all means, have it that you can go back to the bicep curl instead if you need to. As you're ready, pushing up and return. If you can't go the whole way up, it doesn't matter. If you need to have a little stop and a break, that's fine. Just go at your own pace. This is our last exercise that we'll do with our arm weights, and then we'll stand ourselves again for just a moment longer. Just taking your time. Remember, each time we use our muscles, we're building our muscle strength, and it's really important that as we age, that we keep building muscle strength so as we can do our everyday activities that you're wanting to do. So don't have it that you sit on the lounge or the chair too much and your muscles fall asleep. So keep yourself strong so you can keep doing everything that you're wanting to do. As we get older, we keep strong, we keep healthy, and we keep as fit as we can. 1 more each. Excellent. If you've used weights, you can place them down. If you didn't have weights to use, that's fine. Give your arms a little shimmy. As we're ready, if you'd like to join me still, you can take yourself into standing. I've brought a chair nearby for safety. If you've got a kitchen counter or a nice sturdy dining table, that's also a lovely option. And what you can do is you can hold onto that stable object for me. And we're going to raise our heels up off the floor if you can. Holding yourself nice and strong and balanced, and then lower your heels down. So again, challenge your balance, raise your heels. Keep your hands nearby the kitchen bench, but if possible, don't rely on holding it the whole time, but keep your hands there for safety if needed, and lower the heels. 2 more times, let's raise our heels. Try and make sure the ankles don't roll out or roll in, you just come straight up, and you lower your heels. Once more, we're going to raise, and we're going to see if we can hold, counting to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. We can lower our heels. We can give those legs a little shimmy. The last thing I'd like you to practice for me, and it's going to be standing on one leg. As you're able, you've got the kitchen bench if you need, but you can take your hands away from the kitchen bench, but leave them nearby. You need to have a bit of a sway for your balance to improve, and you can alter sides, and you can raise the next one. And again, you can hold, if you can, with the fingers off the bench for me, but keep them nearby for balance. Well done, congratulations. Taking ourselves seated for me, please. Give your shoulders a nice big roll. We can reach our hands forwards for me. We can take our chin to the chest. We can stretch down across the shoulder blades for me, please. Raising our head, looking up. And our last stretch we'll do, lengthening one leg in front, and we're going to reach forwards, taking our breastbone to the toes. If you can reach with your hands, but the main thing is toes come in, breastbone comes forwards. And you can release. And the next side for me, toes come in, breastbone reaches forwards. By all means, taking your hands forwards as well if you wish. and we can release that off. So our exercise physiologists and dietitians and occupational therapists, we're here to help you as you wish to keep you healthy and strong and fit. Thank you for joining me.
Now we are going to view the video from Seniors' Rights Services. I'm sure you have heard about them because they will tell you about your rights and also how you can use them if you are not happy with aged care services.
Seniors' Rights Service is a free legal service. It also provides help and advice on aged care issues. You or a loved one might be receiving aged care, either in a residence or help at home. And your issues could be anything. It could be about food, it could be about visitation rights. Your home care provider might not be turning up and you want to change contract and you need help navigating the system. We can help with things like that. Our legal service advises on a range of issues, such as financial abuse. We're finding that's happening even within a family. We also advise on retirement village law, strata law. We're a statewide service and a lot of what we provide is on the phone, so you can call us from anywhere. But we also have staff in a whole range of centres around the state, so we might be able to meet you face to face as well. We're very inclusive. We can work with interpreters and we also have Aboriginal people on staff. We're committed to older people knowing their rights and upholding them. So call us on 02 9281 3600. 02 9281 3600. Seniors' Rights Service.
You may find yourself sometimes that you don't feel safe. In that situation, you may ask for some help. So the best way is to contact Aging and Disability Commission website. You will see the next clip, how you can contact them, and also you will see some information about videos in different languages. Please watch the next video, and as I said earlier, we will provide you with more information about Aging and Disability Commission.
Abuse, neglect and exploitation can affect anyone, particularly older people and people with disability who rely on others for support. That's why the New South Wales Government set up the Aging and Disability Commission. Our goal is to better prevent and respond to abuse, neglect and exploitation of older people and adults with disability from someone they know in their home or community, like a family member, partner, friend or neighbour. Here's how we work. Anyone who has concerns about abuse, neglect or exploitation of an older person or adult with disability can contact the Aging and Disability Abuse Helpline. A trained consultant will answer your call or email and talk with you about your concerns. If you want to be anonymous, you can be. Often we will help you on the spot by providing support, advice or information. We will talk with you about the steps you can take to improve your safety or the safety of people you are concerned about. We also try to hear the views and wishes of the older person or adult with disability because they are at the heart of our work. Based on the information we receive, the report may be handled by our Community Supports and Investigations team. They can make inquiries to better understand what is happening and talk with the person, other relevant organisations and anyone else involved to improve the person's safety and well-being. In some cases, they may conduct an investigation, which means further actions are taken in order to protect the older person or adult with disability. The Aging and Disability Commission also plays an important role in raising awareness about the signs and symptoms of abuse, neglect and exploitation. We do this by providing education and training across New South Wales, meeting and talking regularly with older people and people with disability about their right to live in a safe place, and by offering free information that is easily downloaded from our website. We believe every older person and adult with disability has the right to feel safe, respected and dignified in their home and community. Call 1800 628 221 if you have concerns. We're here to help and support you. Everyone has the right to live free from abuse.
Next up, we have Heba, a dietitian from MCCI. She's going to talk about healthy eating, how to eat well to stay healthy. Let's see what Heba is going to tell us.
MCCI's health and well-being programs support you to maintain independence, share your culture and language with others, participate in the community, and meet regularly with friends. Today we will be talking about appropriate nutrition for seniors. Why do we need to stay in a healthy weight range? It's important to understand that your overall health cannot be measured by body weight alone, but at the same time, your body weight can affect your health in many ways. For example, having under or overweight may increase your risk of illness and decrease your mental health and overall quality of life. Avoiding obesity and maintaining a healthy weight is important for health. In addition to lowering the risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, high blood pressure, it can also lower the risk of many different cancers. While being underweight is associated with risk of malnutrition, vitamin deficiencies, or anemia, osteoporosis, and early death. What is the healthy weight range for seniors? Currently, leading nutrition healthcare organizations will no longer be using the old healthy weight range. We have seen this transition come into effect early 2018 with updates in our dietetic assessments for aged care services. So it's expected eventually to change to BMI, body mass index, of 23 to 30. So higher body weight range are now more accepted for older people. To eat in a healthy manner, we follow the Australian dietary guidelines. To achieve and maintain a healthy weight, be physically active and choose amounts of nutritious food and drinks to meet your energy needs. Enjoy a wide variety of nutritious foods from these 5 food groups every day. Limit intake of foods containing saturated fat, added salt, added sugars, and alcohol. Encourage, support, and promote breastfeeding. Care for your food, prepare and store it safely. To eat in a healthy manner, we try to eat foods in our plate from the 5 food groups. Drink enough amounts of water. You need about 8 cups in a day. Avoid foods that's out of your plate. So keep sometimes food for once or twice a week. Avoid saturated fat that comes from animal and try to replace it with unsaturated fat that comes from plant sources. And finally, enough amounts of physical activity. So 30 minutes, 5 times a week. Translating this into practical steps to know how much we need to eat every day from each group. Choose your age group, then choose your gender, then circle your daily recommended serving intake. For men, we're going to use grain. For women, we're going to use the red color. How many vegetables you need in a day? For men and women, we need 5 vegetables a day. A standard serve of a vegetable counts as a medium-sized vegetable like a cucumber or a carrot, half of the big ones like a potato or a sweet potato, a cup of the cut green leaves, or half a cup if it's cooked vegetables. In Indian culture, that can look like half a cup of vegetable curry. For Middle Eastern culture, that can look like 1 capsicum. And for Chinese culture, it can be half a cup of stir-fry vegetables. How many fruits you need in a day? Women and men needs 2 fruits in a day. A standard serve of a fruit equals a medium-sized fruit, like a banana or an apple. A cup of the cut fresh fruits or diced or canned fruits with no added sugar. Or 2 of the small fruits like apricots or kiwis. In Indian culture, that can look like a cup of pickled mangoes. For Middle Eastern culture, that can look like 2 dried dates for breaking fast in Ramadan. For Chinese culture, it can be a 1 cup of jackfruit or lychee. How many bread and cereal serves you need in a day? For women, we need 3. For men, we need 4.5. A standard serve of grain equals 1 slice of bread, half a cup of cooked rice, 2/3 cup of cereals, which is equal to wheat bix, or 1/3 cup of oats, and it also equals half a cup of cooked pasta. For Indian culture, that can look like 1/3 of a naan bread. For Middle Eastern culture, that can look like 1/3 of Lebanese pizza or manouche. And for Chinese culture, it can be like 3 to 4 steamed dumplings. How many meat or meat alternatives serves you need in a day? Women needs 2, men needs 2.5. A standard serve of this group equals 65 grams of red meat, 80 grams of chicken, 100 grams of tuna or fish, 2 large eggs, or 1 baked bean cup. For Indian culture, that can look like a cup of dal. In Middle Eastern culture, that can look like a cup of lentil soup. For Chinese culture, it can be 2 eggs added to your fried rice. How many serves of dairy products you need in a day? Men needs 3.5, women need 4. A standard serve of a dairy product equals 1 cup of milk or 2 slices of cheese, 3/4 cup of yogurt, or a cup of an alternative milk like soya or almond milk. In Indian culture, that can look like 3/4 cup of mango lassi. In Middle Eastern culture, that can look like a cup of milk you use to make rice pudding. In Chinese culture, this can look like a cup of red bean double skim milk pudding. For healthy portions, our plate should look like this. Half of the plate should come from non-starchy, colorful vegetables. 1/4 of the plate comes from carbohydrates including pasta, rice, and starchy vegetables like potatoes, and a quarter of the plate contains the protein, which comes from meat, fish, chicken, or tofu. Dietary fibers absorb fluid, so it's important to drink enough fluid, including water. Remember to drink sufficient amount of fluids, between 2 to 3 liters in a day. Keeping active helps you stay physically and mentally strong. Aim for about 30 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity on most days of the week. Remember that any amount of activity is beneficial, even just for a few minutes. Strength and weight-bearing activities can increase bone density and help to prevent osteoporosis. Consider exercising with friends and choose activities you enjoy to help you stay motivated. To summarize our SMART goals: count serves, control portion size, drink enough fluid, and exercise every day. Remember, there is no ideal body weight for all people. Everyone has a different body frame, body fat distribution, and height, all of which determine an individual's healthiest weight range. Keep in mind that the best body weight range for you is at which you feel best physically and mentally. This is a general health advice provided by MCCI for seniors. If you have a health condition, you should consult an accredited practicing dietitian. The dietitian will work closely with you and your doctor to develop a suitable diet for you, or contact MCCI for further help. Thank you.
I'm sure you have heard about many programs for seniors to help them to use technologies. One of these programs is Living Connected from Helen Hassan and her team. Let's watch the videos about the program and also about Helen.
Hello, I'm Helen Hassan. I've been a volunteer just about all my life, but my day job is as Professor of Information Systems at the University of Wollongong. So technology is my big thing, and that's where I am useful in all sorts of situations. I'm just about to set my Rotary Club up on technology so we can Zoom each other while we're all separate. About 10 years ago, I had to care for my husband, and in that circumstance, I had to stay at home a lot and realised how important technology was to people who are in my situation. But then I realised how many older people are missing out on the benefits of technology because of their lack of skills and their digital isolation. Now it's more important than ever. I did research in the area, and then a few years ago set up Living Connected, particularly as a volunteer manager and founder. We've now been working for 2 or 3 years helping older people all up and down the coast get better on technology. Most of that was face-to-face. Now we're really putting a big emphasis on setting up an online virtual version of our organisation. So it's been a big effort, and I've got a big team. But it's been so worthwhile. The rewards you get when you help somebody connect with their loved ones, do their own shopping and banking so they remain independent, has been a great benefit for them all. So that's what I'm doing as a volunteer, and it's going to be so important in the next few weeks and months, I think. Welcome to the Living Connected YouTube channel. Living Connected is a community organisation that helps the elders in our society to better use their digital devices, their phones, their tablets and their laptops to do what it is they want to do for a better quality of life. Did you know that isolation is more detrimental to the health of those over 50 than is smoking? Experts in aged care had known for a long time that it can lead to malnutrition, depression, and many other physical and mental health problems. Some of us have been in lockdown and now experiencing isolation for ourselves, but most of us can use our digital devices to stay connected, to get access to services, to go shopping, to work, get entertained, and many other things that really run our lives. Many of the elders who are clients of Living Connected don't have this ability, and so this is how we help them. Members of the Living Connected team are trained digital mentors. They help elders with whatever device and problem that they come to us for. We can do this in small groups, or we do it one-on-one with individuals, and now we are doing it more and more on Zoom. This year we have had many weeks when we have only been able to run our Zoom sessions due to lockdowns. So our team members have had a bit of spare time to make videos, and this is why we now have this YouTube channel. You can get to know some of our team and then see some of the things that we are doing. We will continue to add more videos here, so please subscribe and come back often.
And now we are going to have fun and enjoy dancing by Cinnamon Twist. Let's do some moves together with them.
Yandan kelena karamela şukar biyav şukar çay le mange yandan kelena karabela şukar biyav şukar çay le mange kertala le 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 kertala le 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 le
Carers supporting carers. Caring for someone can be challenging. But if you have a friend to talk to, it's much easier. Someone who understands you. Someone who's been through the same situation. We just that. We match carers with other carers. We also run a carers support group on the third Tuesday of the month. Please join us. Because we know every carer needs company, advice, and support. Contact MCCI 42297566 and ask for Anita, Tanya, or Stefana.
So, Christy and Cyril, today we're going to be talking about mental health. And the experts say that mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Christy, would you mind to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks. So mental health is one of those areas that there's a lot of confusion about. And so it does involve psychological well-being, and that really means talks about emotions, it talks about our thinking, and it talks about our relationships. But I really think relationships is the best way to think about mental health. It's our relationship with our internal world, what we feel, what we emote, what we think about, what we dream. It's a relationship with the people around us. It's a relationship with the world around us, nature, or even our spiritual selves.
Very good. And we all know the past 2 years have been a bit challenging and difficult for many, many people. So, Sunil, how can things like COVID and the pandemic affect people's mental health?
I think we don't have to explain much about it because we all know that how much it has impacted each one of us. And as much as physical health is important, mental well-being, which is like health of our mind, is also very important, and which has been a very challenging situation, and especially compromised with stress, anxiety, what's going to happen, where are we going from here, and unemployment. All the psychosocial factors has impacted them so much, and definitely every human being has impacted greatly in the community with the mental health issues.
Yeah. Perfect, thank you so much. So because both of you work in the mental health space and you support communities with the mental health support, would you tell us a little bit more about your programs and your roles and what you do to help communities and the seniors?
My program is basically working with refugee families and people with refugee background, struggles with this trauma and everything, and they come up, and when this pandemic affects, it doubles their feeling of anxious depression and other mental health challenges. So how to navigate when it affects, because a lot of trauma and other things are hidden within their emotions, and nowhere we were taught how to express our emotions in a way it could be accepted. So giving that opportunity to explain and express those kind of feelings and emotions in a right way so that they can get help for themselves.
Oh, that's really good. So if people are finding a little bit challenging and difficult, if they come to you, you will give them some information, trying to find what's available around them to could help them with that?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. I think many times we also run capacity building of the staff to even to recognize these challenges, because a lot of people doesn't even recognize those kind of issues when they recognize what to do. So capacity building of our staff is also very important.
Oh, that's very important, definitely. So people can see you one-on-one individually as well, come and see you to ask for help? Yeah.
At the moment, we are in the process of understanding what the community needs and how far the knowledge and openness to talk about is there, and what is the safe platform to express, because this is a very sensitive issue for a lot of people to talk about it.
Yeah, and that's great to see that work happening in our communities. As you said, there's a lot of stigma and a lot of to break their understanding of what actually mental health is, what it involves, and how can you get help, and when should you get help.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Christy, you've been supporting seniors in the community for a little while as well. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Thank you. Continuing to Be Me, or C to Be Me, is a program that's been funded by Coordinair, who's the PHN or the Primary Health Network for South East New South Wales. Our service is available to any older person who lives up and down the south coast of New South Wales, from Wollongong all the way through to Bega and up to Cooma and across to Goulburn. We provide 2 sets of services. One is a service that supports older people who are living in residential aged care. And this is one of the most unique services of its kind, because nothing else has been available up until this, I guess the pandemic we have to thank for this. What people found in residential aged care was that older people were really struggling with the isolation that they were experiencing, because many people were basically locked up in aged care. They couldn't access their family, their friends, they couldn't leave the facility because of the fears of COVID, and this led to overwhelming problems with anxiety, depression, and close to what you were saying, Sunil, bringing back trauma of previous experiences. So we have a range of staff members going from psychologists, social workers, counsellors and mental health nurses who go into and work with various residential aged care facilities and provide a variety of support to the residents that live there. That can be individual one-on-one support. It can be liaising with family if the family needs some support. And often there's an adjustment process for families and older people moving into care. We also provide group therapy in various guises, and that's very much dependent on what each care facility need. So we are able to create whatever the consumers really want to experience. So in some facilities we have a Bible group going, others we have art and craft groups going. We also run discussion groups, grief and loss groups. So we have the freedom to really tailor-make what services we can offer to the older people living in our aged care facilities. We also do a lot of training for staff who live in residential aged care, because a lot of carers don't understand that there may be issues that have to do with ageing that aren't necessarily physically oriented. And I think what we've seen with COVID is this rise in depression and anxiety, and we're really there to provide some extra support and education to the carers so they can support their consumers as best as possible. So that's the residential aged care program, and continuing to be me at home is the service that we provide for older people living in southeast New South Wales who are still living at home, and it's a free home visiting service. People can get up to 12 sessions, and these are often people with mild to moderate mental health conditions. We will offer an assessment and then tailor-make the therapy to whatever people really are looking for and what they need. And that may involve some couples work or some family work. It may involve liaising with other organisations, referring them to social supports if need be. It's really based on what the client wants and what support they need. And if a person needs a little bit more support, then we then connect them with other services. So it's a pretty exciting avenue for people to reach out, and the fact that we can just go to people's home rather than having to drag them out, and COVID has really helped people feel a bit more secure about accessing mental health services.
Yeah, definitely. I think with our communities, you agree with me, Sunil, that fact that you're actually able to come to their home, to their own space where they feel safe to share with you and maybe get that support that they've been delaying for so long. That's a great opportunity, so thank you so much for that. I might just ask you another question. So if you come across a family or someone that has English as another language, are you able to provide that extra support, language support, or how does it work? How can we work?
Well, there's a couple of ways we can provide support. So where often as possible, if we need to have an interpreter, we access the interpreter service, and of course that's of no charge to the client. That's something that's a cost that we bear, but it means that we can provide telephone-based support in person's language so that they can have some support and counselling. And I've got a couple of clients who I regularly engage that service with, and it's worked really well. We're actually recently took on an Italian-speaking clinician, and we've also got some Dutch-speaking clinicians, which has been very handy a couple of times, and at one point we had a Spanish-speaking clinician as well. So where possible, we will try and get that information. And of course, there's so much information out there on mental health that we can often provide documents translated in people's language. So any of the therapeutic documents that I use, as wherever possible, I try and get them in their own language. And then one of the things that we were really excited to work on with your service, MCCI, was the taking care of yourself brochure, which has been translated into several languages, not just English, and it comes with a magnet, and we can talk a little bit more about that later.
Yes, definitely we will. So that's really good. And if I'm not wrong, Sunil, as well, I think that's part of your program as well, that you're going to use bilingual people from the community to support with your program as well?
Absolutely. I think in our program we have community mobilizers who are from the people from refugee background, and they can speak the language, so it's very interesting to use them to connect. And also our TIS services are available in case if their availability is not there, so we use like TIS services to interpret those communications to our members.
That's really good. Thank you for sharing. So these are two really great programs that we can have to help the seniors in our community, as well as the carers and their families. So we not only sometimes it's about providing that language support, but also that cultural understanding of what goes behind understanding mental health and mental well-being. Okay, Christy, with the Continue to Be Me program to support people at home, if someone doesn't feel comfortable to be on their own when you come to help them, are they able to have family or someone they trust with them?
Absolutely.
When the therapists come on board? Yep.
Absolutely. All of our services are provided based on what the client, what you might need when you talk to a counsellor. And for some people, they do feel more comfortable having a family member, at least at the beginning, because it can feel strange talking to someone you don't know about some really deep, dark feelings. And often we find people, after a session or two, they don't need that extra support. Sometimes, though, we find that it's the family members that are referring people to us. And we always base our decisions on what the older person wants for themselves. So sometimes that means we have to limit how much we can share with family members if an older person doesn't want us to share that information.
Yeah, fair enough. We do find the same thing over 10 years of experience working with carers, helping them navigate the systems, that yes, usually the conversation and the person seeking help is someone from the family and the carer. And I might ask you as well, Sunil, so if someone doesn't feel comfortable calling a service, can they have a family member, friend of someone else calling the service and asking for help?
Absolutely. I think that's what the platform we offer, because it's hard for a lot of families and individuals to navigate the system. And this is where we come in place, where they can easily reach out to us through our mobilizers or any other staff, reach out to us, and we will help them understand what's going on and then navigate to the appropriate services that is required for them.
So when we talk about mental health and mental well-being, it's all about looking after ourselves. So, and one of the great initiatives we did with you, Christy, and the Continue to Be Me program was to develop a self-care brochure, as well as the magnets that was then translated in languages. What do they talk about, and how can they, the magnets, be useful for people to know how to do about self-care?
One of the things that we find when people are really stressed out or they're really upset, it can be hard to remember what are those things that we can do to help ourselves feel better, feel safer, feel more comfortable. And that's where the magnet comes along. So the magnet has some symbols on it that describe what some basic self-care skills are. And it comes with the brochure. And again, all of this has been translated in several languages, that it describes what those things are. So what we're really talking about is what might sound very simple, but self-care is really about good health. Mental health and physical health really shouldn't be separated. They're all part of each other. And so keeping active, being social, enjoying things in the moment, having interests and activities, and continually learning and using your brain, these are some of the things that we're talking about with self-care. So that when people are in that point where they don't quite know what to do and they can't necessarily contact anyone to talk to, having this on your fridge can be a really good reminder of, oh, that's right, doing something creative is something that I can do to help myself feel better. So you can be reminded to get your knitting out, or we've got here, nurture your soul. And for people, that means a lot of different things. It could be some kind of religious activity. It could be something to do with going outside, or something spiritual. We all have our own kind of interests and activities that help us feel internally safer. And so these things are just a reminder that you can have on your fridge to say, hey, these are things I can do every day. They don't cost much money, or if any, and they're easy to do.
Thank you, Christy, for sharing that. And because it's Seniors Festival, I think it's really important to reiterate that it's important to celebrate yourself, the great journey that you have through your life, and look after yourself and the ones you love. And as a last thing to do today, let's share a message with our seniors. Is there anything would you like to share with them? Sunil?
I will say, like, stay connected, be in touch with your friends and family, enjoy the most of the time that you have with them, and keep yourself healthy.
I would add to celebrate the wins, celebrate those moments of joy. There can be so much in our life that brings us down, and one of the things a lot of our clients say to us is they get really down by their ageing, frail bodies. But you've had a lifetime of success and wins, and there's so much about the world that can still be pleasurable. Use those moments of pleasure and joy as like lily pads that you jump between the hard moments.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And if you want to know how to contact Sunil and continue to be me with Chrissy, we'll share some details in the next slide. Thank you. After we hear from Chrissy and Sunil, we also would like to let you know that MCCI has programs that can help you to achieve this well-being. Looking after yourself is really important, and the past 2 years have been very difficult. That's why the MCCI created a project with these beautiful women to do some knitting and crocheting during the lockdown, to keep their minds entertained, to use their skills, to feel connected through their culture. They knitted all these patches with the colors of their countries or something that was very meaningful to them. They were very happy to be part of something that shows their multicultural backgrounds, their language, their cultures and traditions. We do thank you, all the women that participated in this project and made this a beautiful banner to be shared with other communities. It is now on display at the Wollongong City Library.
So this is it. This is the conclusion of the session today. I would like to thank you, everyone involved in making this video possible. I thank you for your information, and I am sure that seniors, people who are going to watch and are watching this video, are going to find very useful information. If you want to watch this webinar again, it will be available on MCCI website, on YouTube channel and Facebook. If you have difficulties accessing this video, please let MCCI know on 42297566. Thank you. Special acknowledgements for contribution towards making this webinar possible goes to Department of Communities and Justice for Seniors Festival Grant, Shellharbour and Wollongong City Council Seniors Festival Committees, Scope Home Access Illawarra, the New South Wales Trustee and Guardian, the Legal Aid, Shellharbour City Council and La Trobe University and Palliative Care New South Wales, Living Connected, the Aging and Disability Commission, Uncle Richard Davis, Illawarra Aboriginal Corporation, Tenda Funerals, Seniors' Rights Services, MCCI Allied Health, Exercise Physiologist and Dietitian, Sunil Varma, Mental Health Social Worker, Christy McDonald, Senior Clinician Psychologist, Cinnamon Twist, ProSound and Lighting, Coordinate, the Southeastern New South Wales Primary Health and MCCI Community Support Team. We would like to thank you for being with us today. We hope you enjoy the program. If you would like to have further information about the presentation today, please give us a call on 42297566 or send us an email to admin@mcci.org.au or visit our website mcci.org.au. I would like to let you know that you will be able to watch this webinar later on our website and via Facebook. And before we finish, please enjoy the last performance by Cinnamon Twist. Thank you.